At Symposium, I asked Sitecore developers the question I already knew the answer for.
I have a very strong feeling that you are not going to give it to us, but I would like to request, it's not the extension point, but it relates to the APIs. How about giving us access to PowerShell extension API? Huh? I know the answer is no, and that's why I probably I'll do a POC next week to do it at least for the private marketplace applications.
So what I meant by that, if we take a look at the Marketplace App Studio, there is a choice of Sitecore APIs. Most of them you know already. Some of these APIs are relatively new, which is Agent API. Some API actually missing here, like Querying API. It's not here for the page content retrieval, but you can still clearly have it. So yeah, that's what you enable. But Marketplace never had and never will have PowerShell extension for obvious reason, because security concerns, blah blah blah. And I decided to fix that. So what I've done, I took the PowerShell remoting module and I reversed engineered its protocol of communicating to the backend and retrieving the results. So passing the parameters, security, all that type of things. The communication takes place between your local PowerShell console and the remoting PowerShell server. Okay, once done, once I got that, I reassembled it back into a relatively basic fetching mechanism so that I can use that universally. The only purpose of making that was to embed it into newly released Sitecore Marketplace. So let me show you what I've got. So I have a website running in Pages. This is my remote instance, Marketplace, and this is the one I built. So it may seem a little bit simplistic at the first glance, but I will explain why it's not. So first of all, what we see here is Marketplace context, and it shows all the application context and page context, basically all the variables you can get from the page or from Marketplace context. I will explain why we need it a little bit. There's also connection settings, because we are still using remoting. The hostname URI is automatically calculated for you from the actual page that is running here. So I'm using one of these APIs to calculate this particular hostname, because we need that for the connection. Regarding these two, username and secret, in order to enable remoting on specific instance, I'm providing a package. A typical old school Sitecore package, which you normally go into your content editor and install into your environment. So that package basically has all the information to enable PowerShell, it sets permissions, it enables remoting, it also creates this username, but the only thing that you need to go and actually enable it from the user management, because once you install admin user, it will be disabled by default. And finally, a shared secret. This is something you set up in the deploy app. So you go and set up variable for CM, make it a secret, provide any value, and use this value from this field. And the combination of all that gives you ability to execute the remoting calls right from this Marketplace app. Finally, the script itself and parameters. So this is a basic editor for script. I get a very simplistic script to get a Sitecore item, but look what I've done. I have using parameter and I have item pass. So item pass is variable here, and I can provide as many of these variables into script as I only want. And the reason for that is this script is actually what gets executed remotely in the context of a given user. In my case, it's admin user, but it should not be. It could be anything. So that's remotely executed script. That's why we may want to provide different parameters like that. So we have item path 1, which is here, and we can provide any We can provide any static value. It could be like any text, whichever we want, yeah, like that. But we also can provide values from the context. For example, I'm currently on this page, which is test. And looking here, going back down to page context, you see we have site info, we have page info, and page info has a property called path here, which contains currently selected page. And if I change it, it should change here as well in the context. So I change the page to landing page, and here we go. Page info path changed to the landing page. This is how context works in Marketplace, right? Okay, so the idea is that I can grab the path to a specific context. In my case, it will be page info and then path. And dynamically insert that as a variable. Here's what I do. So I'm taking this from a page context, and I say I want this property and this subproperty, page info path, exactly what I have. And it's even simple, because if I hover that, move mouse on top of it, I am showing the actual value that is currently hidden under this token. So you never mistake, you know that. Okay? And a brief guidance on how to use that, how to use these tokens. So once I execute the script, it will execute it in the context of remote instance. Then it will automatically get this value, and it's supposed to get this item and return it ID. Okay? It executes very quickly. This is the raw HTML of the protocol, which I reverse engineered, and this is what I have as a return parameter. Technically, what I do is I receive series of objects from the remote, and this could be even complicated tables. I return these objects consecutively in a format of a complicated JSON with lots of objects. So, because I can have multiple returns here, like I can provide integer here, for example, integer 10, that's what gets to output. I can provide null, which is a separate type. I can also provide Boolean value, and all that gets to output. So you see, now I have two strings in output, one number, one Boolean, and one null, and they are like consecutively passed here. Why I need this JSON? Don't treat this Marketplace module as something on its own. This is actually a blueprint or a template for building your own bespoke PowerShell remoting modules. If you do that, you would want to execute some query, do some business, and then get the output in a format of JSON. So your Marketplace application gets this JSON, which can be anything, because with PowerShell you can do anything, and process from there in a nice and beautiful UI that feels naturally to Pages editor. So with that in mind, I can literally control any instance, and of course I can actually use other instances here. So I'm not stuck to this particular CM. I can use any CM that has PowerShell remote enabled. I can even switch it to my local XM cloud where I have remote enabled. So let's actually try that. So I copy the URL, I go here and paste it. Nice. I have the same user and the same code there, so that should work. The only thing I don't have this path, so I maybe change it to something more simplistic. Let's go and copy the path from here. Boom. Right, execute. And yes, I get this home item, so it returns me the value. Everything works exactly as I want. Once I want to build any very specific app I get this boilerplate app. All the plumbing and mechanics already works. So I get it, I tailor it, I hide this helping output, and do my business, return result, get the output values if I need, and go from there. This is really a big thing. Thanks for watching.